Hi everyone, welcome to ZyNerd's analysis of the data that was shared today by the NTA in the NTA website. All of you would have been going through the data. This is a start of the analysis. Today's session will be a start of the analysis. First, we really apologize. We had these sessions postponed multiple times because data was huge. 33,297 candidates. And all the entire data center wise had to be collated. NTA had made it little difficult for everyone. Was instead of providing a single data point, they had provided it center wise, resulting in the need for collating data, etc. So it took a lot of time, higher than expected. We delayed it a bit, but I hope the data is a little useful. And also there's some things that we would like to tell you before we start with the data. This is just an analysis, a very preliminary analysis of the data. We'll also do a state-wise analysis, not from a figuring out what happened in centers perspective, but this data also gives us excellent inputs on states. What are the numbers in states, etc. See, there is one major difference. So when you're looking at the data, all we have is a center-wise marks serial number wise. So now they were asked to provide data in a sequence, in terms of a sequence. They provided it in serial number orders. We do not know what the serial numbers are. The center numbers, let us say 4106104 is a center number. So that center number is already mentioned over here in the data, and along with that the marks is mentioned. The ranks have not been mentioned, which is also something that is very critical, but that is okay. Let go of that. As of now, marks are mentioned, so we know that certain marks fall within a rank range, and we'll be able to deduce something out of it for the state-wise analysis. And second thing we need to understand is individual wise data is not available, and this data what we have is only that of 2024. If any meaningful comparison is done to be done like what IIT Madras did, and if NTA had been transparent, some 2023 data would have been useful. We don't have much of 2023 data except for data points. Like for this mark, what was the rank in 2023? How many people were above? That is the only thing that was available, is available with us now. So that level of data crunching in terms of center wise compared with 2023, 2023 versus 2024 is not available. I am sure NTA will not release it unless Supreme Court mentions that, though they have given it to IIT. So we are competing with NTA where in terms of data where partial data is shared, and even when the data is asked to share, only partial data is shared. Now we will look at the data analysis one by one in terms of what we are going to look at. Before that, a quick sneak into what the base 1,08,000 that was referred to. Basically, this was mentioned as the total seats, correct? 56,000 government seats plus 52,000 private seats. This is what was mentioned. There is a slight change in the government versus private split here, but still let's let it go off. Now it was assumed that therefore the top 1,08,000 ranks, because there are 1,08,000 seats, the top impact in the top 1,08,000 ranks is very, very critical, is what the entire arguments were based on. And the Chief Justice had also asked a lot of data on this, but neither the petitioners nor the respondents brought up this point except for one advocate. The person mentioned that within 2.5 lakhs to what happens? Allotments happens. Even though 1,08,000 seats are available, 2.5 lakh rank range is the range at which allotments happen, is what they mentioned. We took up last year's round 1 in detail. We have the data of every counselling, every allotment, except for smaller states which don't share their allotments, possibly around 0.05% of the total allotments we don't have. Everything else from round 1 we took up 2 days back, and then we started analyzing whether we need to look at the impact within 1,08,000, or because there are quotas, reservations, they are deemed universities, private institutes, and MBBS, BDS seats, and Ayush seats, which all use NEET UG, should we look at it? So we took up MBBS plus BDS and checked in the round 1 allotment. Obviously, only when you have an allotment, you can get admitted. It is absolutely transparent, except for the last phase where possibly 1% of seats get missed out outside the allotment process. Even that is going to be taken care of by the online counselling process. But let us say you get allotted in R1. How many have been allotted? There might have been movements at a later point in time. Movements or shifts mean still it goes to higher ranks, correct? So R1, let us say 100 gets a seat, it will never go down to 90. Beyond 100 is what it will go in R2. So we took up round 1 where almost all the allotments were there. Minor seat increase might have happened in R2. We took up and saw less than 50,000. Let us say the total number of seats allotted. In round 1, what we had was as base was 93,819. This 1,08,000, 93,819 we had as allotments. Not that we missed out the rest, smaller states only we missed to the extent of possibly 2,000, 3,000. But many of them don't get allotted. NRI seats, etc. don't get allotted. Many BDS seats don't get allotted. We took up 93,819 allotments in MBBS and 20,493 allotments in BDS. BDS, not all seats get allotted. Some states start BDS later. So our base is this set of seats around 1,13,000 or 1,14,000 seats. From this, those candidates who took less seats were allotted seats. Those candidates who were less than 50,000 was 33%. If I take MBBS plus BDS, possibly around 30-35% maybe, 35,000 maybe. 33% had taken below the rank of 50,000. 17% had taken seats below the rank of 10,000, 1 lakh. So basically out of the total seats below 1 lakh, only 50% of seats were taken by candidates below 1 lakh. So basically out of this entire 1,14,000, let us say, seats, possibly around 57,000 seats were alone taken by candidates below 1 lakh. So the entire 1,08,000 theory possibly needs to be rechecked. Second, if you look at it in MBBS, another 26 plus 15, MBBS plus BDS, 26 plus 15, 41% of seats were taken between 1 lakh and 6 lakh. So this is an analysis that clearly tells you a big chunk, total 50% goes above 1 lakh, and even within that between 1 lakh and 6 lakhs, you have around 41% of total seats. Out of this 1,08,000, 41% were allotted within this. So the 1,08,000 impact, whether we need to see that or we need to see at a bigger range, that is questioned. It becomes more critical when it comes to BDS. Within 1,50,000, in fact within 1 lakh, only 11% of BDS seats were taken. Within this 20,493, only 2,000 BDS seats were taken within 1 lakh. And within 1,50,000, only 18% were taken. Which means beyond 1,50,000, that is where 82% of BDS seats got allotted last year, which is a huge chunk. So if you are going to say that the impact is below 1,50,000, you are looking at only this 11% or possibly this 50% for whom it will be an impact. What happens to the rest of them who take seats beyond that? It is not necessary that all of these are private seats or belong to a particular category, etc. Note that the many states where even the government seats go beyond 1 lakh, smaller states, yes, many where government seats go beyond 1 lakh in particular categories, reservation, PWD candidates take seats beyond that. So what if there is an impact beyond that is a question that needs to be addressed. So the first part is on the 1,08,000. Now the center-wise data is not relevant. This and the center-wise data might not be relevant. The impact in terms of total numbers, we say 150 candidates, there is a breach of 150 candidates or maybe 250 candidates across locations, etc. So if that is the case, whether they come within 1,08,000 is not possibly the issue. Wherever they come, there might be an impact. Second, we will look at the rank ranges of 2024. This is a pure statistic. If you are not interested in statistics and only looking for some inferences, etc., possibly at the state level, look at our webinars or tomorrow or day after as we move and look at the center-wise data analysis. We've got good data comparing last year versus this year in terms of the data available. To the extent possible, we'll compare, but these are the rank ranges. So we know these rank ranges. There might be, we have got data of 23 lakhs, 33,162 candidates, around 135 candidates are missing. So that is a difference. So max difference you will see is 10 to 20 numbers in each rank range. Just for that, you see that out of the total candidates, 61 are on the top, 719 to 710, 643 candidates, and another 1,617 candidates between 709 to 700. So within the top rank range, you have 705 to 2,321. Basically, 2,321 candidates within what rank range? Above 700 and above is 2321 candidates. These numbers we would know, but this will give you a better split. Like let us say you are in this rank range. You would clearly know this is the rest of ranks who are going to compete with you. You might possibly fall within this rank range, plus or minus 10 ranks maybe, and you know the number of candidates competing at this rank range. This will give you a complete idea. For us, why are we taking this as reference before going into the data of center wise or city wise analysis? That is because we are looking at possibly these rank ranges. We said till 6 lakhs there is an impact, right? So we decided to look at, let's say 6 lakhs is fine, that is an extension. Let us look at anywhere above 2 lakh 450 marks, which is basically rank between 2,71,695, around that rank range, 2,75,000 we will take. And then we will also look at anyone above 650. Anyone above 650, possibly at 30k rank range also, we look at that number as well and see how that translates to. Anyone above 650. We will also look at anyone above 700, which is 321 candidates. Also anyone above 550. How many were there? What are we going to look at? How many candidates are there in these rank ranges? 550 plus, 650 plus, 700 plus. Across India, what is the percentage? In a particular state, what is the percentage? Is there a deviation? In a city, what is the percentage? And in the center, what is the percentage? Look, percentages and not numbers. Then we will also look at how many numbers are there in each city, and we will try to figure out if there has been a deviation. What will be a deviation? Across India, let us say 450 plus. Let us say there is X percentage. And then in one particular center, we see that 450 plus, there is a large deviation, X plus 30 percentage. Then there is an issue, correct? In this center, above 450, there is a large deviation, which means out of 100, across India, let us say 10 people took a seat. But in one particular center, 10 people had 450 plus scores. In one center, out of 100, let us say 40 people had a score of 450 plus, then there is a cost for deviation. We are trying to figure out if that happens and what are the top centers, etc. We haven't done our entire analysis either by correlating or through a regression pattern. We did a simple analysis so that it is easier for us to explain it to you as well. So what are the numbers that we are looking at again is 450, which is 2.75 lakh range, 550 plus, which is 1.4 lakh rank range, and then we have 650 plus, which is 30k rank range, 25k or 30k rank range, and 700 plus, which is around 2300 rank range. So these are the four data points we look at. In case you want to look at the rank ranges across, this is above 129, where which is the qualifying mark at 40 percentile. You can have a look at the entire rank ranges. There will be a plus or minus 10 to 100 ranks over here because the data is missing, and you can have a look at it, pause it, and then later have a look at it. Now we will do a state-wise, we did a state-wise analysis. Now before we go into that, we need to clarify again what we are looking at. We are looking at percentage of candidates within a state who scored in these ranges. Like let us say in a particular state 1 lakh candidates wrote the test. Let us say out of it 50,000 scored above a particular range, then 50% of candidates scored above that particular mark. So what is that percentage? Let us say in Chandigarh, we don't have the total numbers over here, but in Chandigarh, let us say 100 candidates load the test, 23 of them, 23% scored above 450. Is there a deviation in that? Is what we are going to look at. Overall, what is it, and whether there is a deviation is what we will be looking at in this scenario. While we are doing it, we will also let you know the overall percentages. Can we just pause for a second? So, sorry for the disturbance. We were looking at some data so that we can actually add on some information. We'll get that in a short while. So, what do we need to know? How many above 450 was the overall all India average? What percentage of students who scored 450 were the overall average? So, that is one data point that will help us in terms of what might be the actual percentages as reference. Now, here if you look at it, you have Chandigarh, which is at above 450, a lot of candidates. This is not the state candidates, this is the center's state. So basically multiple cities within Chandigarh might have had, or multiple centers within Chandigarh combined together. It need not necessarily be Chandigarh candidates, so don't correlate with it with state's performance. But in for example, certain states like Rajasthan might have a lot of candidates from nearby states or other states coming in because of the coaching centers. But if you look at states like Tamil Nadu, usually it is mostly the candidates from Tamil Nadu who write the exam in Tamil Nadu. So there is a center versus a candidate belonging to a state difference. Understand that this is purely center's state. So basically the state which has X number of centers, and within that centers, how was that performance? That is what we need to look at as far as the leak case and the related interventions are concerned, right? So Chandigarh had about 450, about 23% of candidates, and then we have Rajasthan with 22% of candidates who are above 450 marks. So out of the total candidates who wrote the exams in Rajasthan, how many had above 450? 22% had above 450. These are all the list of states which had about 10% candidates who are above 450. The overall average might be around, let us say, if you look at it, we will come to know. So the overall average for 450 is 2,08,000. So the overall average possibly may be around 10% only. So that is the list of candidates that you have over here as far as 450 marks is concerned. As far as 450 to 550 is concerned, only between 450 and 550, the actual average of across India is 6%, and between 550 to 650, actual average is 5%, and between this it is 1.2%. Hope you get the point. So within across India, if you take out of the total candidates, 450 to 550, 6% of candidates fall under this rank range. But in these states, Chandigarh, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, etc., you see that a larger number of candidates, 10%, 9%, 8% candidates, which is slightly higher than the average. This is because there were a small number of candidates in Chandigarh, nothing to do with any leak or anything, need not necessarily be, even because there is a small set of candidates, if they perform well, obviously there will be a deviation. In smaller states, you will see those deviations, or in smaller centers, you will see that deviation. We will come to that. This might not necessarily be an issue as such. So now this is here, if you look at it, 650 to 750 is also slightly higher, and there is a reduction as we move down. Here, if you look at Punjab, this is the grand total overall percentages which will help you define where the mean is. Then if you look at Bihar, where is it? Couldn't find Bihar. In Bihar, it is less than 10%. So that is where it is. In Bihar, if you look at it, or at least in the states where there seems to be an issue, there is less than 10%. Jharkhand is over here. But this is not a statistic that will help you basically. Even if there are 1,000 people or 500 people within the entire state doing benefiting out of an issue, this number will not give you possibly the best analysis. This is at an overall level for us to understand. This is how the pattern is. Now we look at city-wise analysis, slightly better analysis than compared to state-wise analysis. This also might not give you exact references. If you are statistically inclined, you can have a look at it. Looking at this, you will see that Bangkok had around 13% candidates between 650 to 720. Out of the total candidates, 13%. We will come to the exact numbers here, so it will be very interesting. 450 plus was total 25%. What was the total number across India? 12%, 6%, 5%, and this 1.2%. Bangkok had around 25% of them, which means 1 out of 4 candidate in Bangkok scored above 450, or 1 out of 8 candidates scored above between 650 to 720. Now the reason why we said that don't look at smaller locations is, maybe they can check out, but if you look at Bangkok, only 8 candidates wrote the test. out of which one candidate may have been actually good enough, scored between 650 to 720, making the data 13%, which is out of 8, one candidate had a higher score. So we should ideally ignore these or let them take it up separately, but that is not part of the entire issue. Now Sikar in Rajasthan, we already know these names from the IIT Madras report. Sikar in Rajasthan, Namakkal, Kottayam, Tanuku in Andhra Pradesh, Junjunu, all these, most of them in Rajasthan or Haryana. You can see that Rajasthan, Haryana and 1 or 2 in Punjab, they have a very high percentage of scores above 450. This has been taken, this data is not 450 plus highest, it has been taken based on highest percentages in 650 to 720. So you will see these are the highest percentages in 650 to 720. This is 1.2% on an overall average. Overall average is 1.2% across India. But these centers had 7%, 4%, 3% candidates. Here is there a deviation? We don't know if the 150 plus belong to any of these centers or whether their data has been removed. We don't have data of 135. We are trying to figure out with other better statistical collators if we are able to get that exact number, whether we missed out or there is some miss. But if they had removed that, then possibly we are also missing that information. Now here you can see certain locations where there is a higher percentage of candidates who have come up between 650 to 720. You can also see that reflecting over here in the same centers, 550 plus, which is usually 5% and this is 6%, you have a huge number. So this possibly has to do with coaching centers. Definitely there is a coaching center in Namakkal, obviously we know Kerala, Thrissur or Kottayam, etc. So these may have to do with coaching centers. So we basically have a reason possibly on why this is happening. You can also look at the exact numbers. These are the percentages. You can also look at the exact numbers, like let us say this is 37%. We are saying Rajasthan Sikar 450 plus is 37%. We also have the numbers over here, which basically is in Sikar, out of 27,216 candidates, 10,000 scored above 450, which is the 37%. At any point in time, you can come back for your state or a particular institute. We have the data for the entire set of centers. You can also always check with us on the data in case you need any specific reference to. So these are the numbers. So if it is 1937 out of 27,216 is what we are looking at, and that number is what comes to 7% over here. Okay, I hope now this part is pretty clear, and we will look at the next set. This we looked in terms of percentages. Who has what city has the highest percentages within these buckets? Now we will look at, forget percentages. Why do we look at percentages? Primarily because we don't need to, let us say there is a center which has 2,000 candidates and 5 of them go beyond 50 of them go beyond 650, and another center with only 100 candidates, and in this center 20 go beyond 650. This is a 20%, whereas this is possibly 2.5%. We shouldn't compare 50 with 20, and that is why we are going with percentages over here. But we also thought, let us also compare that. Let us look at how many people have scored 650 plus marks in a city. In every city, put up all the centers put together, how many candidates have scored over 650 marks in a city put together? Here, we looked at 650 plus marks in terms of the numbers clearly. All the states where 650 plus marks were taken by 300 or more candidates is what we took up. And here you can see again Sikar Rajasthan tops the list. Obviously it is topping the list. It will also come in the center wise analysis. It is because of the coaching centers. And then you have an entrant Jaipur Rajasthan, Delhi, Kota, and Patna is over here. Patna is over here where you have 717 candidates scoring above 650. Now is it a cause for concern? We are not sure. You just look at these numbers. Out of 27,000, 1937 actually scored higher. But in Patna, out of 48,643, 717 candidates actually scored above 650. This is actually a meager 1%. Basically, what was the percentage of 650 plus 1.2% across the country? So this actually doesn't give us a better reference. It just tells us that in the city of Patna, a large number of candidates had attended the test. With this, we can't conclude that there is a deviation, but there might have been a deviation or might not have been a deviation, a large deviation. We don't know that. But this is not giving us enough information. So 716 candidates alone scoring 650 plus, we are not able to derive anything because this is the slowest and it is above the, just below the average across India, which is 1%. Now, if you look at the rest, out of 27,000, 2.5 times have scored in Sikar Rajasthan. We might not take that as a reference because there is a coaching center reference, but if you look at many other states like Chennai, etc., which are usual district metros, then you will have 1% or 2% scoring. Patna just has 1%. This does not give us information. We are not saying that this does not mean something has not happened, etc. We know that something has happened, but the extent is cannot be proved by this data. So when NTA gives this data to the petitioners, even the petitioners will not be able to pull out anything out of it. That is the information that we are giving you. The petitioners will not be able to go and tell that Patna mein there is a huge deviation. No, there is no data over here to tell that at Patna level, at a city level. Because whatever is there is clubbed in here. Any data that is available is clubbed in this statistic only. 450 plus, how many other, is there a deviation? So we will have to look at how many people actually deviated, there was a deviation, or how many people actually took the benefit of it by actually figuring out the information and not from this data. This data might not be useful for proving that. And if you look at Hazaribagh in Jharkhand, this we took up as a special case because there was a RIMS Ranchi, there was a candidate who was arrested yesterday. So we took this up specifically. Here 27 candidates scored above 650, but the candidate might have been a solver. This where the exam result, the question answer responses went, we are not sure, but this is a very, very small number of 1%. Now we look at center-wise analysis. We are coming to almost the end of the session. We will be looking at state-wise analysis tomorrow. Complete one by one, we will look at state-wise analysis. We will pick up at least the top 5 states. We are ZyNerd, and we are at, in case you wish to join us in our Telegram group for any queries, clarifications, complete statistical analysis, a strategy based on data. Our portal has immense data for you to look at information and then strategically approach the counseling. What should I do from round 1? What should I do in round 2, etc. Go to Telegram, look for ZyNerd, or in the description we would have the Telegram group and the WhatsApp group links. Join them. You can also join our portal for more information. This level of information is and effort is what we put for every candidate in who's undergoing his or her MBBS counseling admissions. Center-wise analysis, top percentage is above 650 marks. Now we took up a similar one. 650 plus marks, what percentage of candidates scored? Bangkok, we know, Bangkok is one city, so once again it is taking up 1 out of 8 candidates score above 650, we know that. Second, you have Sikar. In a center-wise analysis, if we pick up the top, anything above 6%, 8%, almost everything happens to be Haryana, Gurugram. Obviously, it will be because when we take up a city-wise analysis, whatever comes up over here as the highest percentages will possibly be reflecting in the internal centers as well, right? If Sikar is high, then it means multiple centers in Sikar have also performed really well. That is why Sikar is high. So when we take up that analysis, Sikar shows up on top with a lot of centers having above 8% or 9%. The average here in terms of overall is around 1.2%. We should know that 1.2 to 1.5%. We said 30,000 candidates are above 650, right? So that is the average. So 650 to 716 is what we have taken, and we have also taken a separate one on 720. 720 is only 0.2% in the total, 61 candidates alone, 0.2% or possibly even slightly lesser, 0.2 something percentage, 0.2 or 0.25%. Now, maybe even lesser, I guess, 0.02. So this is a slight increase in certain places. This might be an increase of 3-4 times only in top obviously there is an increase that can be expected. There are certain candidates in each of these centers. The numbers now we will look at. But what does this give us? There are certain places, mostly Sikar, Rajasthan, Gurugram, Haryana, which are the top in terms of city center-wise analysis. We will come to Bihar and Patna centers, but first we will finish this off. Overall, the top percentages. The percentage above 650 marks, whichever was had high percentages, the numbers over here, out of 41 in this particular center, Tagore PG College, out of a total of 356 candidates, 3 of them scored between 700 to 720 and 41 scored above 650. Does this help us? If the top are all these, that is not going to help us. It might give us a statistical information on what the numbers are, where the deviations are, but it might not necessarily give us exactly whether something has happened unless we look at what Patna and Bihar. Now Patna and Bihar, we are here at Patna and Bihar. Can we have the other slides too, please? So we are here at Patna and Bihar. Here we look at information. Thank you. We are working on something as we were doing this. So Patna and Bihar, here we have information on center-wise analysis. This is slightly different in the sense, what we had looked at here is, let us take, not in terms of percentage, 650 plus, how many had scored from the top? Total number of 650 plus in a center, let us take that. Still Sikar comes in, but Rajkot in Gujarat has one center which has a very huge number. Out of 1968 candidates, Rajkot had 101 scoring 650 plus. If at all something has to be discussed, something has to be taken up, either it is because of a coaching center or because of a set of candidates, that can be taken up here. But otherwise you see the same set, Sikar, Namakkal, Malappuram and Rajkot over here. So these centers are all the same, almost the same pattern you can see, with high number of 700 to 720. This possibly is a center which is slightly, there is a deviation. It did not come up in the other, Gujarat as a state or Rajkot as a city might not have come up in the top over here. Therefore what we can assume is as a city it did not come up. So, but in the center there is slight deviation. Is it a problem? That can be checked out. It is not that it is a problem, but that can be checked out. In a city, that doesn't exist. Like Rajasthan Sikar, it was not in the city-wise top, but it is there in a center-wise top. One center where there is a higher number. So we can also check that out. Patna, where does Patna feature in this entire thing? Patna 650 plus in entire center of Patna, in all the centers of Patna, 699 candidates had been taken, had 650 plus scores, and 18 candidates alone had 700 to 720 scores. So that is something which we already looked at. This is the numbers for you to help. So which means if you look at here, 650 plus was a larger number actually in Patna as a city, not with respect to one center, in all the centers together in Patna. Here out of 1968, 101 candidates have scored. Patna has had around 48,000 candidates, out of which 699 scored 650 plus. 48,000 in the entire city of Patna. Same for 720 plus, 700 to 720 in Patna, 18 candidates have scored above 700 in the entire city of Patna out of 48,000. This 48,000 to 18, 700 to 720 does not look like a number where somebody is actually, there is a deviation. If there are 100 deviations, that might not be accounted, but that does not look like a home number, good number. Now we are looking at the last part, top numbers 700 plus. Taken all the candidates who are 700 plus in a particular center. Let us see how many people are 700 plus. This is the final one, right? That is what NTA was also trying to give. We have taken all the candidates, and here you can see that again Rajkot and Gujarat Ahmedabad, there is a Delhi public school where 9 candidates scored above 700 out of 676. Gujarat, Ahmedabad. Similarly, Ahmedabad, there is another school where 7 candidates scored between 700 and 720. So these, I am not sure if it has anything to do with any information, but we can always look at what happened in these, because these are slight deviations. Ahmedabad not featuring among the top in terms of cities, but these two schools featuring higher number of candidates in terms of 700 plus over here. So that is something that can also be taken up. Similarly, some of these locations can also be taken up where the other part is not reflecting, where the city-wise percentages are not there, state-wise percentages are not there, but in a particular city center, there is a slight deviation that can always be taken up. Otherwise, the regulars like Sikar, where is it, Namakkal, Jaipur, etc. all come in over here. So this, the reason is 700 to 720 overall percentage is 1.2 percentage, sorry 0.2 percentage. Basically out of 23 lakhs, probably 700 to 720, 200 and 2,300 or something candidates were only above 700 and 720, possibly around less than 0.2 percentage. So that we'll have to take a call on here. Now that is pretty much what we have. We will be running sessions individually. So what we will be doing again is, if you can follow us, and we'll be running sessions statistically to tell you within a state. What we are going to do next is, within a particular state, we will be picking up last year how many participated, how many attended the government quota counselling. So basically this is based on the centers. Let us say in Tamil Nadu we will say 1.5 lakhs wrote it in Tamil Nadu, and almost 1.5 lakhs was the number mentioned for Tamil Nadu too, in terms of in this year too. Now with this, how many had applied for the counselling? What are the numbers? Do we have the numbers? Let us say around 25k applied for TN counselling, and out of this, how many were, how was the rank distribution? This is from 2023. Now this year, how many have applied? Exactly we have the data. How many have applied or how many have appeared? We exactly have the data. So with that in place, how do we derive the current Tamil Nadu ranking and possibilities? Here, even though these candidates appeared in Tamil Nadu, some would have appeared outside Tamil Nadu. So we are trying to figure out how many came into Tamil Nadu last year. Similarly, out of those appeared in Tamil Nadu, some candidates would have been from other states. So those would not have applied even though they had higher marks. So that taken into account, we do a statistical analysis and tell you, last year if it was 25,000 candidates, this year it might be these many candidates, and out of that, based on that, what might be your rank, etc. So we will be discussing that at a state level next. We're starting with Tamil Nadu, we will also go into Maharashtra next, and then all the other states, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana, and every state wise, Rajasthan looks like has a higher competition this year. So every state we will take it. We have marks wise numbers and last year's merit list clearly and allotments that we would analyze and get back to you. If you're interested in any of these kind of analysis, or instead of just looking at last year's closing ranks, I want the best seat for my rank, even if it is one level up, that is a great career advantage. If you're looking at such information, not necessarily at overall YouTube, general YouTube videos, but at individual level, at what happens, my competition is doing this, my higher ranker is going to Tamil Nadu, going to Kerala, I will have to manage my strategy accordingly in round 1, round 2, round 3. In round 3, I have to get my best seat, or should I go for stray round? All these are statistically derived from ZyNerd, knowing the mapping of every candidate across India. If you want to join us, please join us in ZyNerd. The next sessions, please attend even if you are not joining us. That will be really helpful for you in terms of knowing the statistics and how you can get a far better seat using information with ZyNerd. Thanks a lot for watching.